Welcome, Facebook live stream viewers. So happy to have you with me today. We are Change It Up Radio, and you're joining us backstage as we record this week's show. So I'm really glad you're here. I'm calling our show today That Insidious Insomnia. And any of you out there who have ever suffered from sleep problems or insomnia, as it's known, you know how insidious and how problematic that can be. And we are going to be talking today with Terese Santos, who is the founder of Beauty for the Soul Mentorship and an executive director with LifeWave, who has some tips for us and some great information about how we can deal with our stress and our sleeplessness. So please stay with us because we're also checking in with Carson Caldwell. We're going to find out where in the country he is on his quest to cross the country on a bicycle to raise money for the starving children in Yemen. All right, if you're ready, let's go.
Tired of the rut you're stuck in, but don't know what to do? Change it up. Join life transitions therapist, speaker, and best-selling author Paula Shaw. She'll be exploring topics that make change and the challenge it presents smoother and more productive. She'll also be spotlighting change makers who are leading the charge to make the world a better place. If you're ready to live a more exciting life, at home, in the workplace, and around the world, it's time to step out of your comfort zone and change it up. Now, here's your host, Paula Shaw.
Hello. Welcome to Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. We are being brought to you today by LifeWave, leaders in the field of activating your stem cells. So welcome to all of you. I am Paula Shaw. I'm an author, a speaker, and a life transitions coach. I help people who are dealing with change because change is problematic for we humans. You know, we need it. We want it because we don't want to be bored. We want life to be interesting. But, oh, we hate the discomfort of the unfamiliar. So that's my work, helping people deal with change. And here on this show, what we're all about is either spotlighting change makers who are trying to make the world a better place or bringing you information to help you deal with change so that it can be smoother and more productive and growthful. So today, I'm calling this show That Insidious Insomnia. Yeah, we're going to be talking about sleep because it's a huge problem in our country. And in just a few minutes, I'll be telling you more about that. But my guest, Terese Santos, today will be talking to us. She is founder of Beauty of the Soul Mentorship and an executive director with the company who sponsors this show, LifeWave. And she works with women who are trying to grow their businesses and grow their lives. And she has some great tips for us about what we can do with this problem of insomnia. And we're also going to be checking in with our favorite guy, Carson Caldwell, who is riding a bike across America. 24 years old, he's riding a bike across America to raise money for the starving children in Yemen. So I'm looking forward to hearing from Carson. He has come a long way. Many of you may remember we started following him when he left Philadelphia, and he is somewhere in New Mexico now. So he has made considerable progress, and in the next few weeks, he'll be getting to the West Coast, and I'm very excited about that. So let's just look a little bit at this issue of insomnia, this issue of sleep problems. I want to give you some statistics that I think you may find kind of shocking as far as how big of a problem it is. Over 42% of Americans, like 70 million people, have sleep problems. And many of them, this was really surprising to me, are children under the age of 18. 40% of Americans get less than 6 hours of sleep. Insufficient sleep is linked to depression, ADHD, obesity, type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, cancer, and Alzheimer's, all linked to insufficient sleep. In 2014, the CDC labeled sleep deprivation as a public health epidemic in America. Drowsy driving causes 1,550 deaths and 40,000 injuries annually. Consumers spend $41 billion every year on sleep-related products. That's what they spent in 2015, and that figure is expected to rise to $52 billion by 2020. In short, Houston, we have a problem. Americans have a huge problem with sleep. And I can tell you myself, when I'm working with a client who isn't able to sleep, and just yesterday a new client came to me with that issue, almost always you can count on the fact they're having difficulty focusing. They have problems even communicating and completing thoughts because their brains are sleep deprived. They fall into negative, defeated thinking. They're often very emotional and frustrated. And suicidal ideation is more prevalent among sleep-deprived people. And of course, when somebody gets into that downward spiral, the biggest problem is once you start having night after night of difficulty with sleep, then you get impacted by a fear that you're not going to be able to sleep, which usually sets up so much anxiety that, in fact, you can't sleep well again that night. It's a very problematic cycle, and it's a difficult cycle to break. So some of the things that I do in my private practice, if someone comes to me and they're dealing with anxiety, stress, and sleep difficulties, one of the first things I try to do is look for what's underneath, what's at cause, what's at the root. And oftentimes, excuse me, that is a traumatic experience that they've gone through. And sometimes it's limiting subconscious beliefs that have come up as a result of something that's happened to them. Because very often, in fact, I've worked with several women who are powerhouses, like the one you're going to meet today, Terese Santos. I've worked with women like that who were functioning at an incredibly high level, helping other people, coaching or doing whatever their work was. And then boom, something happens, some traumatic event. And now all of a sudden they fall into this panic attack kind of behavior. And then the anxiety develops around the sleep. And that cycle that I just described to you begins. And it's best if we can catch it early. Because the more things you associate with a problem over which you have anxiety, even if it's something like shiny floors or wooden walls or certain fragrances, the more things that become associated, the more the problem is exacerbated. And so now any of those things can trigger the anxiety that leads to the sleeplessness. So I love it when I can work with somebody who comes right away when the problem begins. But it's usually very multi-layered. So as I said, I look for limiting beliefs. I look for traumatic experiences that we might need to take apart or release. I make sure that their nutrition and their life patterns are good, because that can be a problem. Oftentimes, it's important to get your neurotransmitters tested. Because if you have certain neurotransmitters that are off, that can totally disrupt a sleep pattern. Some of you may remember a guest we had on the show a while back who was going through ruminating anxiety, depression, and huge sleep problems. And as it turned out, Dr. Eliza Cicerone, who was also on that show, tested his neurotransmitters and found out that a couple of them were off. And in 4 days, with the right amino acids, he was back. He was able to function normally. So we always want to make sure when we have these kinds of problems that we look at the physicality as well as the other stuff that could be going on in a person's life, the emotional issues, the mental anxiety, and that sort of thing. It's also very helpful to use some relaxation techniques. Sometimes that can be very helpful, feeling parts of your body growing heavier and just letting them go and relaxing them. One of the problems with sleep, by the way, is that falling asleep is an act of trust. Think about that. You have to trust that everything in your life will be okay while you're unconscious for several hours. And if you're fearful about the things going on in your life, that letting go process becomes difficult, if not impossible. Now, another thing I like to look at and encourage people to do is create a healthy routine around bedtime. So, in my opinion, one of the huge no-nos is watching the news just before you go to bed. Many people do this because it's the first time in the day they've had a chance to catch up. That does not relax you and does not prepare your body to rest. So please, cross nightly news off your list of things to do at bedtime. Better would be to listen to some lovely music or read a relaxing book or spend a little time just actually doing meditation or some other relaxation technique. And finally, one of the things that I have found most exciting that has helped nearly everyone I've ever used them with are the LifeWave sleep patches. And we'll be talking more about that later in the show with Terese Santos. But these patches, as you know, I mention them every week because LifeWave is sponsoring this show, and they're sponsoring this show because I believe in them. I believe in the products they're creating because they are drug-free and chemical-free, but incredibly effective. And so my go-to at night is an Eon patch and an Alavita patch, or sometimes the Silent Night patch. Those patches help me sleep deeply and restfully, so I wake up refreshed and excited to face my day. So we'll tell you more about all of this as the conversation progresses a little later in the show with Terese Santos. But coming up in our next segment will be Carson Caldwell, and we're going to find out where he is in his quest to cross the country on a bike to raise money for the starving children of Yemen. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back with more Change It Up with Paula Shaw on AM 1170, The Answer.
Now, more than ever, it's important for women to understand why they need a financial strategy. Women tend to make less money than men, live longer, and face more financial challenges during retirement. Hi, I'm Sherry Blair. With evolving roles and increasing responsibilities, women are seeking out ways to become more knowledgeable about their finances. My life's work has been to empower women to make good financial decisions today to help ensure you have a bright future tomorrow. I'm here to help you learn more and to become more. Give me a call for your free no-obligation consultation or a second opinion at 619-997-0416. 619-997-0416. That's 619-997-0416.
Cherry Blair is registered with and securities are offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC, member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company. California license number 0B42369.
Hi, I'm Kelly Klein of One Trust Home Loans, Loan Coach Kelly. A while back, my business was in a slump, and it triggered a lot of self-doubt and fear, and it even had me questioning if I'd made the right career choice. So I booked a session with Paula Shaw, and after hearing my predicament, she explained that when we get into negative, self-sabotaging thinking, and we are being run over by our limiting beliefs, it's almost impossible to create positive outcomes. She helped me clear those destructive thoughts and beliefs using her cutting-edge energy psychology techniques. Not only did I feel a whole lot better after the session, but within 2 weeks, I had 7 loans in my pipeline. I was so glad that I went to see Paula Shaw. And you should too. It really changed my perspective on life, business, and now my business is going great. You can reach her at 626-864-0756. That's 626-864-0756. 626-864-0756. Or check her out at paulashaw.com. That's paulashaw.com.
Welcome back to Change It Up. Now here's your host, Paula Shaw.
Welcome back to Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. I'm delighted to have you with me today, and in this segment, we are going to be talking to Carson Caldwell, whom many of you know is a young 24-year-old man who did a Google search a while back to find out where were the most starving people in the country. And he found that there was the biggest humanitarian crisis that's ever been in the country of Yemen. And over 85,000 children under the age of 5 had already starved to death. So Carson decided that he was going to hop on his bike and ride that bike from Philadelphia to Santa Monica to raise money for these starving children. And we have been blessed with a weekly check-in with Carson Caldwell, and right now we're going to do that. So, hey, Carson, are you there?
Yes, Paula. Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I'm dying to know where you are and what is it like there?
Well, I'm actually in Santa Rosa, New Mexico, and it's very beautiful, very wide open desert landscapes, and a lot more cactuses and high altitude as well. So it's a really interesting place.
And what's the temperature like? Because we know last week it was getting pretty warm where you were.
Yep, yeah, the last couple days have definitely been close to 100 degrees, and today it's cooled off pretty significantly. I think it's about a high of 83. It's a little overcast, but it's been really, really beautiful.
Oh, Carson, I'm so happy to hear it's cooled off because I've been very concerned about you in those 100-degree temperatures riding your bike. I know you said last week you're keeping your clothes wet, right, to help keep you cool? Yeah, and I keep up. I would say about 95% of my body is covered, and that really helps to block the harmful rays of the sun, especially considering that, with the ozone layer being slowly depleted, the rays of the sun are just so much stronger nowadays. So it's really important to protect against it. You know, on the show today, Carson, we're talking about sleep problems because almost 50% of the people in the United States have sleep problems. And my guest a little later will be also talking about one of my favorite things for sleep, which is the LifeWave patches. And I know you're wearing an X39. How is that affecting your sleep, or are you just so exhausted at the end of the day you would sleep if you were in the middle of a train station?
It's hard to say exactly. I sleep pretty deeply no matter what, but it seems that I wake up feeling more rested when I'm using the X39 and a little less sore as well. So there's definitely value there, and I'm very appreciative to have access to these X39 patches. They're just a really special thing. Yes,
I wear them every day myself, so I'm totally on board in that camp. Listen, I heard your interview. For those of you who don't know, Carson was also interviewed by Andrea Kay, another show here on AM 1170. And did you know she called you after the interview the hero of the week?
I heard her mention something like that, but wow, I wasn't sure that I officially made that cut, but that's pretty interesting.
Yes, it was great because, she's on every day and she's talking about all the events going on, in the world each day. And out of all of that, Carson Caldwell and what you're doing, because it's so selfless and it's such a beautiful thing that you have a consciousness that you're concerned about people you've never met in a country I'll bet you've never been to, and that because of that concern, you're giving considerable time, energy, and certainly sweat equity to this effort to raise money to help feed those people. So let's tell the people, first of all, where they can donate if they would like to help in this effort, and how much that money actually does.
Okay, yeah, definitely. Yeah, well, if people are interested in learning more and possibly making a contribution, they can go to bikeforyemen.org, and that's bike, the number 4, yemen.org. And so the reason I'm working with a specific charity called Beit Mal is basically because I was really impressed with their level of efficiency, with like how well they use their money and their resources. Mm-hmm. And I think it's close to 90% of every dollar. It goes directly to basically feeding people and providing things like cholera kits. So basically, people's donations turn into food and medical supplies for people in Yemen. And basically $1 a day, $1 can feed one family one meal. And so $3 can feed a family for an entire day. So seemingly small amounts of money go a really long way in Yemen.
And so we want to really stress to everybody out there listening, there is no amount that's too small. Or if for some reason you have a connection with some group, a church, a school, a group that might like to create a project, to raise money for these starving people in Yemen, please do. And just go to bikeforyemen.org, and that's where you can make those donations. And I have to tell you, before Carson and I started doing these interviews, I did my due diligence on Beit Mal, and they are an amazing charity. They are actually able to get into the country and on the ground and bring the supplies, and very little is spent on their administrative overhead. So it's really a beautiful group, isn't it, Carson? And they're doing a lot to try to help you get interviews and raise awareness along the way, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's their goal as well as mine to help make this endeavor a life-saving campaign. And even in raising awareness, there's value in that to opening people's eyes and hopefully inspiring people to act compassionately.
Yes. Oh, and that's so important. So I was thinking about what you're doing, Carson, and obviously you've never done it before, right? This is your first trip across the United States on your bike. Is that correct?
Yep, that's right.
Okay. So I know you didn't know exactly what it was going to be like, but you must have had some sort of expectations or thoughts or maybe even conversations you've had with others who have done it. But can you give us a little idea of what you thought would happen and what's happening? Is it the same? Is it completely different? Has it been, harder, or how are people treating you? I'd love to hear your perspective of what this experience is like.
Well, leading up to it, I was pretty anxious and stressed out because there's like a lot of things that can go wrong.
Yeah.
But once I got started, and I was moving, I felt kind of reassured that all I had to do was kind of just be careful and take it day by day, and basically time would do the rest. And I would say that it's really interesting being like a traveler, especially on a bicycle, because people really react very positively and are very friendly to me, and no matter where I am, really. And it's always interesting to kind of speak to individuals I meet in public places briefly. You know, just these little conversations are very interesting because, you know, since I haven't done this before, this is definitely like a new experience for me. So basically, everything is kind of like fresh and new, and it's really it's a really fun thing to be doing, and I'm really inspired by some amazing people that I've met along the way.
Yeah, you know, I have a feeling that if you haven't already even figured it out, that this experience is going to change the course of the rest of your life. I don't know if you thought you knew what you wanted to do professionally after this or whatever, but do you feel like that this is just impacting you in that huge a way?
I'm sure that it will definitely have some lasting effects on my life and what I do. But ultimately, the goal is to kind of just promote unity and love and compassion around the world for between different groups of people. And so I'm really happy to be doing something like that.
Oh, Carson, that was really beautiful. Really beautiful. Unity, love, and compassion. Yeah, we really need a lot more of that in the world today. And you are certainly doing your part. And at considerable personal cost. I mean, you're on that bike cranking every day. How do you feel physically? You know, are you getting tired, or do you feel renewed each day and able to do it?
I mean, I've been practicing for a while, doing like training on a bike for on and off, I would say, for about 3 years. So I've really conditioned myself to be used to it. So it's really not too bad. And being in new places all the time is just really rejuvenating and refreshing to see like changing landscapes and changing ecosystems. So my mind is kind of caught up in I would say the changing scenery, which kind of distracts me, I think, from some of the more grueling aspects of the trip.
And I think, Carson, what you're able to do, what you are doing, is you're being really present in every moment. You're soaking in the scenery, what you're feeling, what you're experiencing, and I think it's incredible. And I am so delighted that we got to check in with you again today, and I look forward to doing that again very soon. And in the meantime, you take good care of yourself and keep being safe out there, and we look forward to seeing you on this coast in not too long.
Yeah, great. I'm looking forward to seeing you as well.
All right. Take care, Carson. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, Paula.
All righty. Bye-bye. And in just a minute, we'll be back with Terese Santos. Stay with us.
We'll be right back with more Change It Up with Paula Shaw on AM 1170, The Answer.
Hi, Paula Shaw here. I'm so delighted to share with you that LifeWave has become our newest sponsor on Change It Up Radio. My family and I all use their tiny wearable patch technology, and the results are life-changing. My sister had lupus for over 20 years and has never slept well. Now she does. My mom's frozen shoulders simply went away. My favorite is the age-reversing X39, a patch engineered to activate stem cells. Yeah, it's true. They really work to improve how you look, feel, perform, and heal. LifeWave patches use a patented form of phototherapy with no drugs. Learn more online by visiting lifewave.com. That's lifewave.com.
My business has lost its upward momentum. I'm working up to 14 hours a day, but my sales seem to have plateaued. I'm so overwhelmed.
I used to have that same problem, but ever since I found the Balanced Millionaire Consulting Firm, our sales and profits have risen sharply. Even our staff is more engaged, and the atmosphere is full of energy.
I have no time to work on my business to develop new sales and marketing strategies. I would love to expand, have strategic partnerships, and access to financing.
You can do all of that and more. The Balanced Millionaire Consulting Team advises you on streamlining your operations, establishing alliances, and most importantly, increasing your revenues and profits.
Let us help you build value and reduce stress in your business. Take charge. Don't let your business control your life. Visit thebalancedmillionaire.com or call 442-224-0160 for a free consultation. That's 442-224-0160 or thebalancedmillionaire.com.
Welcome back to Change It Up. Now here's your host, Paula Shaw.
Welcome back to Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. I'm delighted to have you with me, and I'm more delighted to have in studio with me right now, Terese Santos. So let me tell you a little bit about this amazing woman before we start chatting with her. She is the founder of Beauty for the Soul Mentorship and the creator of the 5-step Sacred Peace Plan. She also, as I mentioned, is an executive director with LifeWave, our show sponsor. Her main focus is on supporting her clients to create peaceful, happy, prosperous lives and businesses, fully knowing she's very aware that their stress, sleep, and energy must be the first priority. So although she is coaching them to create successful businesses, she does it through helping them first be more successful people and have more successful and happy, healthy lives. And from there, it all grows. So I am excited to be able to introduce you to her. 2 years ago, she discovered something that has really impacted her work with her mentorship. And we'll be talking to her about that because it ties in with our topic today, which is that insidious insomnia. So, Terese, welcome. I'm so delighted to have you here in studio with me. And I've got a question for you because you're a very successful businesswoman, I know.
Yeah.
And you've made millions of dollars. Yeah. And I would think that running a business that makes that kind of money has got to be stressful. Have you yourself ever dealt with sleep problems?
Well, the fact that you and I are friends, of course, you already know that answer. And it's not the money that causes the stress when the money is present. It's actually understanding what the body actually needs in order to get to body balance.
Okay.
And so the reason I call it sacred peace and the reason peace has to come before prosperity is that it doesn't matter how much money is in the bank account. When, I mean, you and I both know that there's a lot of incredibly successful people in business out there, financially successful.
Absolutely.
That have failed miserably at living.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
And so it really is about getting and this understanding of the most important role of our life, and that is nurturing our inner peace. And none of that is possible without getting your stress in check, getting your sleep in check, because they work so closely. They're like this twin nemesis when it comes to peace, right?
Right.
And so the money side of things, it's actually, it's true that you want to create happy money. But it's also true that anytime somebody makes about $70,000 a year plus, that's what we know for sure. That's really that set point where anything over that doesn't really change the stress that much. A little bit less than that, there can be some stress, but it's really understanding what triggers your stress.
So my question to you is, were you always this wise and you got to skip having any sleep issues yourself?
Yes. So, no. the truth is, I dealt with sleep issues. It was like a secret shame of mine. Oh. I dealt with it privately for 10 years.
Oh, my.
I was a woman that was actually dealing with really compromised sleep. And for me, that showed up like I would fall asleep and then I would wake up about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, Paula. And then on top of that waking up, there was the stress about, oh my gosh, I'm awake, right? Exactly. And I need to be well rested to, you know, I need to fall back to sleep. Right. Well, the falling back to sleep didn't happen. And my mom is no longer with me, but just to kind of show you the kind of wisdom that is out there, I already knew not to, even for 10 years of insomnia, and I mean some serious sleep issues, I knew not to go the big, bad prescriptions, right? I mean, I knew enough about Ambien. I could see the markers, and now we know that Ambien is actually connected to a whole list of problems. So I did everything to try to take care of the sleep that I thought would be helpful, like lots of melatonin and lots of anything. I would cocktail anything that ended in PM, right? Tylenol PM, Advil PM. And then my mom, when she was alive, I shared this with her, and she would just say, raise your dosages. Go from 3 to 5
That's
to
the
20.
Boomer mentality.
Right.
Raise
the dosage. And here's what I found is that it worked for a short window of time, and then it did not.
That's right.
I did not know the things that I know, how to support sleep today. And so I'm the founder of Beauty for the Soul Mentorship. I'm an executive leader with LifeWave for a reason. Because once upon a time, stress and sleep were truly one of my own concerns. And when you learn to heal, then in turn, you tend to want to help others heal.
That's so beautiful. And I know, because I have worked directly with several women who coach other people, whether it's men or women or whatever. And I so related to what you said about the secret shame.
The secret shame.
Because when you are teaching people how to be successful, you want to look successful. And if you're not sleeping, you're feeling like a fraud. You're feeling like you're not living what you're encouraging them to live. And that's hard. That shame is debilitating.
It is. And then oftentimes, we are the last ones to recognize what's really happening because we see ourselves in the mirror every day. So here's what we know, Paula, is that stress and sleep mimics radical aging. And it actually blocks. I was listening to your show earlier, and all the stats that you were sharing about stress and sleep. I mean, this country is actually in a crisis, nearly 60%. Yeah. And they're actually referring to sleep issues as the new high health concern.
Yes.
And it's so connected with our inner healing, not just emotionally, but physically, everything. And as women, it's even more important.
Yeah.
The health of our heart is highly connected with the quality of our deep regenerative sleep. And
I was surprised to see even cancer and Alzheimer's connected.
Completely.
And here's the part that really blew me away when I was doing my research. Children under the age of 18 are one of the biggest problem groups. And they can't function well, they can't sleep well. I mean, they can't do well in school. It's affecting every area and can lead to type 2 diabetes. I mean, it's so much bigger than you would think it is. It's not just being a little tired because you didn't get a good night's sleep.
So much more than that.
Yeah.
And the word insidious is right on because it's a cumulative damage that is occurring. And, one night of sleep, it actually has an effect. And there's images out there that actually show the progression from one night of, compromise sleep to what's really happening inside the body, not just what we see here, but what is really happening inside the body, because sleep is the only way our brains detox.
Right.
And again, that's why stress and sleep are so connected.
Yeah.
They have to be addressed simultaneously.
And it's like at the core of everything, isn't it? It's not just us being successful in our jobs or our work.
Yeah.
It's us being happy. It's us being able to interact successfully with other humans, right? Be good parents. It all depends on that sleep.
Completely. We can all probably relate to what it's like trying to go to work or trying to socialize or engage with our family, our loved ones, our children when we're exhausted.
Yes.
I mean, we all understand that happy people show up happy in life, right? And when we're exhausted or we're unrested or stressed, well, that's who we're bringing up. That's who we're showing up as.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. In fact, I loved it on your bio where it said you're often quoted as saying, "When is the last time you ever saw a highly stressed or sleep-deprived woman and thought to yourself, wow, she looks amazing, happy, and successful?"
How about never? Yes.
For sure, never.
For sure.
And those of us who have ever been there, I have been really fortunate. I have never had severe sleep problems, but I was the girl, like you, that went to sleep, but then I would wake up, and if there was a lot going on, and there always seemed to be a lot going on, then my monkey mind would start going, and once the mind gets busy, it's really hard to get back to sleep. But one of the things that I have found is a great answer for that problem is what I mentioned earlier, the LifeWave patches.
Oh, beautiful.
So when we come back from this break, let's talk a little about that, because I know you're a fan too, and you use them with your clients as well.
Completely.
All right. We'll be right back, and we'll be talking about that in just a moment.
We'll be right back with more Change It Up with Paula Shaw on AM 1170, The Answer.
Jack Gutman survived World War II and then returned home to the hardest fight of his life with PTSD and alcoholism. Now at age 93, he's a businessman and comedian, sharing his message of recovery and hope in his new book, One Veteran's Journey to Heal the Wounds of War, helping our heroes and anyone who has experienced PTSD find happiness again. Get Jack Gutman's new book, One Veteran's Journey to Heal the Wounds of War, at Amazon.com. Or to order a signed copy, call 714-525-4954.
For those looking to improve their lives, there's nobody better to turn to than Paula Shaw. Paula helps people regain successful lives by identifying and eliminating self-sabotaging behavior using a multitude of mind-body techniques to identify and resolve their core issues. Working with a wide variety of healing modalities, she provides her clients with the most effective process for their specific needs. To book a session with Paula, call 858-480-9234. That's 858-480-9234.
Welcome back to Change It Up. Now here's your host, Paula Shaw.
Welcome back to Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. We are being brought to you by LifeWave, leaders in the field of activating your stem cells. And speaking of LifeWave, I am in studio with Terese Santos, who's an executive director with LifeWave. And we were just about to talk about those wonderful little wearable pieces of technology, the LifeWave patches, and how they can help with this issue of sleep. So, Terese, tell me, because I know LifeWave patches played a part in resolving your own issues with sleep, right?
Yes.
Share that with
Absolutely. So, in fact, it was the sleep issues, Paula, that really got my attention. I heard that there was an energy medicine type of solution for sleep issues, and that got my attention. I heard that this had to do with phototherapy, and I thought, okay, I understand light in the body, and I, looked a little bit more into that, and one thing led to the other, and I had a chance to actually meet David Schmidt, the inventor of the technology, and it's the silent night patches. These patches right here, this little, it's really a little wearable technology that supports our sleep intelligence. And so we had a chance to talk. We had, an extraordinary lunch where I got to learn a little bit more about his vision, his, the technology, learned a little bit more about the science. And I can tell you that by night 3 of using the silent night patch, not even understanding the other patches or the patch yet to come, being the stem cell activation patch, the fact that there was a patch that I could wear, that there was nothing entering my bloodstream, no drugs, no chemicals, no horrible future side effects that I needed to be concerned with. Just wear the patch on a specific meridian point, and there's about 5 meridian points that might be helpful, and we can just try them and find, because your body will speak to you, and I know that you understand that as an energy psychologist, and so I found that whether it's on my third eye or behind my right ear, I put a patch on. Check this out. You patch, you hydrate, and you allow for the healing, even if that healing has to do with your sleep life, right?
Absolutely.
And so by night 3, I felt like I couldn't even, I almost had to question, was this really happening after 10 years of struggling, right? They're suffering and they're struggling, and I was leaning on the suffering. I really was. And so it absolutely, there was nothing that was going to change my mind that this was exactly what not only I needed, but this could be something that could support so many people.
Oh, yes. Because we all know melatonin helps us sleep.
Right.
And what does this patch do?
So the brilliance of this technology is that we talked about how we don't want to continue. We think we're being helpful. We think we're being helpful by taking all these natural supplements.
Right.
But they might work short term. However, what I didn't know is that beautiful little pineal gland where the anti-aging hormone, melatonin, is actually created. The more we take third-party anything, it actually stops the production.
Doesn't have a job.
That's right. Doesn't have a job. So the patch, these are little patches. They look like a little Band-Aid. You have one to show. And it's the container that actually houses the technology. And that,
you know what?
That's okay. You got it on, right? And I've got mine on too.
Right here.
Right there. So it's the patch, and it has a nanocrystal technology to it, and it's really it's what I call high frequency healing.
Yes.
And you put it on the specific point that actually communicates information to the body, and in this case, the silent night is communicating to our own body to activate the production of our own melatonin. And the stats around here, the stats around the silent night patch, Paula, is one of my favorites because it can actually increase, and it does, the quality of our own delta sleep, the real anti-aging, age reversal, healing sleep by 66%. And so it's been 2 years now.
Wow.
It's been 2 years.
I know, because you introduced me to LifeWave.
I did.
I was one of the first people in San Diego that you introduced me to. Yeah. And I've been a fan for 2 years for sure.
Oh, and then there's this one.
Yeah, let's talk about that one. Eon.
Eon. So we know that next to sleep concerns, because sleep and stress are so connected, they just, exacerbate each other. Then I learned about the Eon patch, and I know that you've seen me use this in my practice, and I know that it is now a vital part of your practice.
Oh, absolutely. First thing I did with my new client yesterday was having sleep and stress issues.
Yeah.
Put that patch on her.
And what do we know that Eon does?
It's anti-inflammatory and anti-stress.
Anti-stress.
And the best thing for me is I can't take a risk that somebody's on some kind of meds,
right.
and if something I give them interferes with that would be a real problem. I am totally safe with these because no drugs, no chemicals.
No drugs, no chemicals, and only side benefits.
Yes.
Right? We know it's a drug because there's a list of side effects. Mm-hmm. And so Eon these are what I would refer to as the power, it's really a power team to support any person, women, men, when it comes to just sleep and stress, so they get their peace back, and then they can go on with creating these beautiful lives, businesses, and then go after prosperity. Mm-hmm. But Eon is the go-to for both myself and you. You wear this beautifully. There's a couple spots you can wear the Eon patch, whether it's a C7 vertebrae, because that seems to work rather swiftly and systemically in the brain, but this is the patch that I refer to as being able to, if we know stress enters the body at the speed of thought, right? We prove this, we see this all the time when we do energy testing, but wearing the patch actually can interrupt stress.
Totally.
At the speed of light.
At this moment, I am wearing Eon on that very spot, just to be sure that stress isn't any kind of an issue when it's time to do the show.
That's right.
And it's that small, for those of you who are watching on Facebook, you can see. And, of course, no weight to it. You have them on, you don't even know, except I was just realizing as you were saying that, I have felt so calm and so clear through this entire show today. And I remembered my Eon this morning, so I'm putting it back on right now.
And one of the things that I know that you have found, you've shared with me, you have found the system as far as a 2-patch system that seems to support your whole sleep, your nurturing, healing sleep. And I know that you use Eon and a Silent Night or an Aloe Vita in the evening. And do you want to just maybe share your experience with that? Because I love this.
Well, I guess what I just can say is I go to sleep and I stay asleep. And when I wake up, I feel great.
Feel rested. Yeah.
And before we run out of time, let's mention the newest patch that LifeWave has come up with, this X39, because it does so many things. And we are also, the X39 activates a certain copper peptide in the body, which then it elevates the peptide, which activates stem cell production. And I'm telling you, that just seems to be the magic bullet for everything. Looking better, feeling better, sleeping better. You heard Carson, 24, talking about how well he sleeps and his recovery each day after riding sometimes 100 miles on a bike. So let's tell them about the event that's coming up, because we want to be sure that we let people know about that, because I hope we have gotten some of you curious about these patches and you'd like to find out more. We have a big event coming up here in San Diego.
That you are hosting.
That I am hosting.
You are hosting.
That's right.
Expecting about 300 plus people. I believe it's at the beautiful sanctuary.
It's at the Seaside Center for Spiritual Living.
Okay, great.
On September 7th at 10 o'clock. And, excuse me, in the morning will be an informational event. Terese will be there as well as our San Diego team and Orange County team that are all working together to put this on. And in the afternoon and in the morning, David Schmidt.
I was just going to say,
will be speaking. Oh yeah, we better remember that part.
Oh yeah,
I remember now. Who's that?
Some guy.
Yeah, some guy's dropping by. David Schmidt, the creator and founder, will be speaking in the morning. And then in the afternoon, Roy Sergurno, who's been with the company since, inception practically, who is the major master patcher.
Roy is a Chinese man, and he actually has 4 engineering degrees, and he almost died. He was he has a really amazing, extraordinary story. About 6 years ago, he found himself one of the only ones that walked out of a ward where they all had septicemia.
Yes.
And he was the only one that, because of his patching.
And did it.
And
exactly.
saved his
did
life.
It with patches.
Yeah, so he'll be there training and teaching.
I know. So September 7th, let's give them the link they can go to if they want to register. It's a free event and you don't want to miss it.
Yes.
Just go to Change It Up Radio. That'll be easy to remember. changeitupradio.eventbrite.com. That's changeitupradio.eventbrite.com. Terese, you'll have to come back because we have 1,000 more things to talk about, and time is up. So thank you all for being with us. Thank you, Terese, for being with us today. And remember, you can hear us on AM 1170 and FM 96.1 on Sunday evenings at 9. We're on every major podcast platform. You'll see us on Facebook, Change It Up Radio page, and also Instagram. And of course, if you can't remember any of those things, just ask Alexa or ask Siri. They will find us. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Terese.
You're welcome.
We'll see you all next week.
Bye.
Until then, take good care. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Change It Up with life transitions expert, speaker, and best-selling author, Paula Shaw. Join the Change It Up movement with Paula Shaw as we explore topics that inspire, welcome change, and create a new kind of conversation. To learn more about Paula, how to be a guest on the show, and sponsorship opportunities, visit changeitupradio.com. Whether you're feeling happy, sad, mad, or glad, it never hurts to change it up.
I just wanted to give Terese a final opportunity to say anything she might like to say to you in closing. But remember, September 7th, that event is, oh my goodness.
You're emotional already about it.
I'm so broken up.
Oh, get girls together.
That event is really going to be major. David Schmidt is not speaking very many places anymore, and we're lucky enough to have him coming to be with us. And then Roy's training in the afternoon is going to be amazing. September 7th, Seaside Center for Spiritual Living in Encinitas. And the link again, changeitupradio.eventbrite.com. And Terese, any final thoughts?
Well, I would love to go ahead and just to encourage everybody that if you are in the Southern California area to join us, because it is going to be something where when you are sitting there in the space, I mean, energy is our first language, right? We already, most people, especially in your world, understand that we are energy, and energy really is our first language. And I'm such a believer that it needs to be our first choice for medicine.
Absolutely.
And one of the other things is that I often like to tell people that I reference innovation. I think as far as peace and prosperity, and then there's that thing called innovation. And Jeff Bezos, right, the founder of Amazon, certainly did not invent shopping. But he innovated it, did he? Not, right? So David Schmidt did not invent phototherapy,
right?
Energy or medicine, but he innovated it. And so for anybody that is curious on, you know, re-aging the DNA with the world's first and only stem cell activation patch, join us. If they want to learn a little bit more about how to interrupt stress, how to increase quality sleep, even pain relief. There's a patch for that.
Oh, yes. That's a huge one.
Yeah, they should actually reach out to you because I know that you've helped a lot of people already.
Oh, thank you.
You're
welcome. And by the way, any of you in the San Diego area, tomorrow I will have a table at Eve Vegan Restaurant right in the middle of downtown Encinitas. And I'll be talking to people about these patches. We'll have patches there. And if you're in the area and you're interested, please join us. We'll see you there tomorrow between 10 and 4 or 11 and 4. All right.
I love that.
Thanks for being with us. Have a great day, and we'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.
Are we off camera yet?